Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. We would not be where we are without the incredible support of John and the team. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is your countdown to Kickoff as Sheffield United host Charlton Athletic at home on Saturday, 3 o'clock. Oh, football's back. This is the beginning of Sheffield United's season right here because we're just going to erase the first 5 games. They never happened. And our season starts now. Minus 15 points or a 15-point head start for some, whichever way you want to look at it. It has been an absolute nightmare start for Sheffield United, and it has to start here, doesn't it? It has to start here. Apologies if I look slightly dishevelled. I don't appear to look that bad on screen from what I can see, but the keen eye may see that I am hot and bothered. Just picked my girls up from football. Well, I were at football training with my girls. They asked the parents to join in, so we've schooled them. They're 9, but we've schooled them, and it takes it out of you, doesn't it? Beating a lot of 9-year-old girls. So, yeah, just a brace for old Jimmy Ramble, but they have to learn somehow, don't they? So, yeah, that took it out of me a little bit. I'm still trying to catch my breath. But, like, never enough to not come on here and talk about Chrissy Wilder. I don't anticipate we'll be on that long tonight. You've heard enough of me talking about Chris Wilder. It's time to get down to brass tacks, isn't it? I don't know, in all honesty, and some of you may know, and I don't, so please let me know, or we'll have to find out later on in next day or two, whether he'll actually do a pre-match press conference before the game now, because obviously he had his unveiling yesterday, was it? So he had a press conference, an extended press conference. I'm still recovering. My hand should have been in plaster after writing all them notes down, but so he's already done an extensive presser. I'm not sure whether he'll do another pre-match presser this week. Wouldn't surprise me if he didn't. So there may not be a hot off the presser before kickoff. And if there isn't, the next time you'll see me will be 90 after 90 for the in terms of Blades Ramble. I think we're going to do a watch along on Friday night on Ramble FC if you want to join us over there. We are so close now to 9,700 subs. I think we tipped over it at some point during the day and we've just dipped back underneath it. But if you enjoy what we do, and it's completely free to subscribe to the channel, but it really does help us out. So thank you to everyone that has done so far. We are so close to that 10K that we have been after for so long. So, yeah, exciting times ahead for the channel, for Sheffield United, because Chris Wilder's back and everything is right in the world again. So I want to know your thoughts heading into... So you've heard enough from me, like I say, about Chrissy Wilder. What else can I say about him? I want you guys to have your thoughts on what you think, how you feel the lane's going to be, what your team is, what your team's going to be. And I'm going to give you my team, and then we're just going to jump into your comments, and you're going to steer how this show goes and how long we go on for, because I don't want to go over all ground, because you've already heard how excited I am about Chrissy Wilder coming back. And like I say, now it's time just to get down to it and enjoy what I think will be a fantastic day on Saturday. And can it be a springboard to our season? The one thing I do want to mention before we get into it, there will be a view from the mountain tomorrow. So I think Paul's got Sonny Glasby coming on from Glasby's Pallets, 2 top lads, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I think, don't hold me to this, but there's a chance the Man Mountain, who can no longer attend the game, there's a chance that the Man Mountain will be doing a watch-along on Blades Ramble for the Charlton game. But we'll have to wait and see whether that comes to fruition or not. He asked me if you were all right to do it. Of course you are, pal. No problem at all. But I don't want him to commit him to it before we've officially said he'll do it. So there's a chance that will happen too. So what is your team for Charlton at home? And my team, I think it's interesting because we had a hot topic last night, which is a Patreon only stream. And if you're a Platinum Rambler, you get to be part of the panel and come on and have your say. And it were a panel of 6 of us, and it were unanimous. I think we were pretty much nailed on as to what our team would be if we got to pick the team. So it's interesting that I think due to his press conference, and the guys last night agreed, I think he's going to lean into the 4-2-3-1. He talked about Gus being on the left potentially, then mentioned him potentially in the 10, but he mentioned Gus on the left. He was talking about people in different positions. He was saying Ogbeni on the right and stuff. So I think it'll remain a 4-2-3-1. And if that's the case, this is the team that I'll go with. Now, forgive me for the crude picture. I haven't had a lot of time tonight to set it all up, but I will get it set up properly. But I'm going with Cooper in goal. Ben Godfrey, who I know is controversial to some now, at right back, but I think we need to give him another chance. I don't know whether it was tactical, why we're standing so far off him. I'm going to give him benefit of doubt. We're a very poor game against Ipswich, but I'm going to give him benefit of doubt, and hopefully he can come good. Tanganga and Ben Mee is in my team. I don't think Wilder will pick this. I think the only difference between my team and Wilder's team is Ben Mee. I think he puts Mark McGuinness in because Ben Mee maybe hasn't quite got the fitness levels that he would need. So I think in my team, it's Tanganga and me at the back, and it's Harrison Burrows at left back. I think he'll go with Peck and Matos, which I like as a pairing. I think they balance each other out quite well. Callum O'Hare in the 10, Gus Hamer back on the left-hand side, able to cut in and cause chaos like he did last season. Ogbeni on the right, hopefully with some frightening pace, and Tyrese Campbell up front. I think that is probably the best team we can put out. But as I say, I think he'll go with McGuinness alongside Tanganga. But I think that's the best team we can put out. Let me know if you disagree. I mean, there's an argument to say, because we're quite strong in terms of depth now. So there's an argument to say it could be me or McGuinness, like we've said. There's also an argument to say Samari could come in there, because some think he hasn't really had a fair shake of it. There's an argument to say Danny Ings could come in, and does Chong come in anywhere? Maybe for Ogbeni, before Ogbeni proves his fitness. Louis Barry, is he being harshly treated? Some would say no, some would say yes. Certainly he's not going to get in over Gus Hamer on the left, but does he go on the right while Ogbeni looks to prove his fitness? I'm not entirely sure. So that is the team that I would go with, and I think that's more than enough to get a result against Charlton. But you'll have to let me know what you think, and we'll jump into some comments now and see what everybody's saying. So Paul starts us off tonight, well, actually this afternoon at 2:05, saying, "Hi Jimmy, still buzzing. The King is back. I reckon 2-0 at the Lane. Up the Blades." I'm going 2-0. Let me know your scores as well. I'm saying it's 2-0 United on Saturday. Danny says, "I honestly think the squad, even as it is far superior to the one last year. We just need Wilder to get the confidence back in these players. I can see a proper run going, Jimmy. Don't write us off yet. Just looks so much more pace in the side and a lot of goals in the side too with the attacking threat we've got. Would be nice to see a headed goal from a corner. I can't remember last seeing one, especially at the Lane. I think it were a nil. I might be wrong, but I think it were a nil that last scored header. And defensively, especially with Tanganga, he's better than an NL, and pace and power in me or McGuinness at the side of him would be more solid than if Robbo was there. I'm optimistic now, Jimmy. Up the Blades, up the Ramble." Not the biggest Wilder fan, but he's proven he can get a job done, and that's what we need at the moment. We'll take a 1-0 Blades on Saturday. So I agree with a lot of what Danny said there, to be fair. I want to know, before I get to the bottom of comments, because we'll end the stream when I get to the bottom of comments, but what's your team? That's like an old school ramble, isn't it? What's your if anybody can remember that. What's your team? What's your score prediction? And who's your captain? Who's your captain? Because if this is the team that I go with, then Ben Mee's my captain. Again, on Hot Topic last night, I thought it was a really interesting discussion point because Lewis in particular, who's got a comment coming up now, he'd prefer not to go with one of the new players. I think that was, forgive me if I'm misquoting you there, pal, but he'd prefer not to go with one of the new players, and I understand that thought process as well. So maybe someone like Sidney Peck retains the armband, which is a different prospect under Wilder. I think Susan mentioned that yesterday as well. I didn't like, this is slightly hypocritical of me, but I didn't like him getting the armband under Sayers. I thought it was too much pressure. But then you think about him wearing the armband on Saturday for Chris Wilder, and I think we get a new Sidney Peck. So there's an argument to say that is momentum is everything in football, isn't it? And confidence. So if we can imagine that this team is already 50% more confident than they have been, then it's that's why we're so confident of a result, isn't it? I mean, it's never guaranteed. That's one thing we have to say. We have to sort of temper our expectations here. But anyway, let me know what you think. Lewis says, who was on Hot Topic last night, says, agree with Dave the Nose, team in the Plats long term, Jimmy. Oh, I haven't seen Dave the Nose's team. Basically, the team we picked on Hot Topic last night, but with me in for McGinn. All right, is that the same as mine then? A Wilder home game, cannot wait. Remember to like and subscribe, Blades. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Drew says, confident with this one. Charlton are not to be underestimated, and the Blades will be prone to a misunderstanding or two on the pitch. But I see us winning. I can see us winning by a single goal. So I haven't had a look actually. Let me have a look at where Championship table. Where are Charlton at the minute? In fact, it's not going to tell me because it don't ever give you. Have a look. So Charlton, 18th. They've got 5 points, which is 5 more than us, by the way. They've won 1, drawn 2, and lost 2. So they... All right, I can tell you every result, actually. They lost to Leicester on first game at season. Then they lost at QPR. Is that right? Okay. Right. So they beat Watford in the first game. Drew with Bristol City. Then lost at home to Leicester. Then lost away at QPR. Then they've drawn at home to Millwall, but they had a man sent off in that game. Okay. Okay, so that's how it's gone. So it was a win on the opening day. It was a draw in the second game. So they were off out at blocks pretty well. 4 points. And drawing at Bristol City is not to be sniffed at. And they got beat by Leicester at home. No shame in that, just by the 1 goal. Lost 3-1 at QPR, which they'll be disappointed with. And then drew at home to Millwall, but had a red card in game as well. So, okay. So they started okay. They started all right. Certainly better than us. We can't be pointing fingers at anybody, can we, at a minute? So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Danny says, I'm buzzing Wilder is back, nearly as happy as when my kids were born. But this is his last time for however long. This is, I think, from the club he needs protecting, backing and support. Thoughts? Absolutely right, he needs backing. And to be honest, he's the one that they've come to, isn't it? He holds the power card here. He's the one that... I've been training tonight, like I say, and one at Dad's is a Sheffield United fan, and he's right. He says to me, he'll come back with a chip on his shoulder, thinking, I'm all right, like coming back, and I want to come back for this club, but these owners didn't think I were good enough. So I'm going to show them that I'm good enough to manage this club and pull them out of the mire. And a motivated Chris Wilder, especially at Sheffield United, is a dangerous thing. And he's already talked about it in his presser. Look, we'll see how results go, and maybe we can negotiate the contract and stuff like that. So he sees this as... it won't surprise me at all if this goes well, that this is his final job in football. I think he could be here for the next 5 years, really, if it all goes well. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Drew. Paul says, I'd revert back to Hamer on the left wing and I'd play Ings and Ty up top. I'd make Ben Mee the captain. Up the Blades. If it was my choice, I would have gone 3 at the back. But I think that's way too far from what we're going to actually do. I'm pretty sure he's going 4-2-3-1. I would go 3 at the back. I'd go 4 across the middle. And I'd go Hamer behind Ings and Campbell. But I don't think he'll do that. So that's why we've set it up in the most realistic way possible. Peake says, no good me picking a team. I'm more like Ruben than he is. Wilder will select a winning team. I have faith in him and the team to start performing and picking up points aplenty. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Phil says, hello, Jimmy. My team for Saturday is Cooper, Godfrey, Burrows, Tanganga and McGuinness. So Tanganga's his captain. Right, okay. A lot of people are picking Tanganga as like the best defender. So that's your back 4. Samari and Peck in the middle. Ogbenny, O'Hare and Hamer and Campbell. So the same front 4 as me. That's a 4-2-3-1 and a strong bench up the Ramble. Yeah, it's not a bad team at all, mate. Andrew says, me and my lad Tom are buzzing for the game. It's great to have this feeling back. Can you wish Tom a happy 6th birthday, please, Jim lad? He'll be over. Tom, happy 6th birthday, pal. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. And hopefully United can get a win for you this weekend. That'd be incredible. So yeah, fingers crossed, mate. And happy birthday. Make sure your daddy's giving you loads of sweets and cake and whatever. I'm not Jimmy, but happy 6th birthday, Tom, and enjoy Saturday, says Peak. Nice one, mate. Rob says, evening, Jimmy. My team for Saturday will probably differ from most, but I'm going 3-4-2-1. Cooper, Godfrey, Tanganga and McGuinness as your back three. Ogbeni at right wing back, Peck, Matos and Burrows. Yeah, don't mind that at all. Hamer, O'Hare and Campbell. 2-0 win, like and subscribe. I really like that team, Rob. I really like it. It's very similar to what I'd have picked if I had a blank sheet of paper. And I suppose I did in a way. But I think in terms of what we can expect to see, I had to go with a 4-2-3-1. But I like that team. The other way you can do it, of course, is to go 4-3-1-2 and drop O'Hare out and bring Danny Ings in. It's just whichever you prefer. Ian says, first time I've been excited for an upcoming game since about the 35th minute against Bristol City. Great to have this feeling again. Up the Ramble. Come on, you Red and White Wizards. Like and subscribe. Absolutely. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's like having another chance at a season, isn't it? Because we've done it so quickly as well. There's time to recover. It's just great. What a brilliant feeling. And I think it'll make people appreciate Chris Wilder a bit more. Evening, Jimmy and the Rambler, says Danny. Got a good feeling about the weekend. Hoping for a big score to get the goal difference down. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe and hype. Charlton are no mugs. No mugs at all. And I would offer me a 2-0 now. I'm snapping your hand off. I'd take 1-0. Obviously I would. But I think I've got a 2-0 vibe about it. Scottish Blade says, evening, Jimmy. Pre-match drinks in Triple Point? Absolutely. Triple Point and Selena Bar. We will be there at both bars pre-match. So we'll see you there. Hopefully, anybody that's going to the game, more than welcome. Please do come up and say hello. And not just to me, but to all the Ramblers. Andy the Blade will be there. Eki Outsal will, I'm assuming Eki Outsal will be there. I haven't actually spoken to her about it. But yes, we'll see you there. I'll be down on Saturday, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Brilliant, pal. I'll see you there then. Super Positive Jack says, I think we'll stick with the formation we used in Wembley. He'll put Gus back on the left. I agree, mate. I agree. J619 says, absolutely buzzing for Saturday. It's not the lane without the king. I hope Wilder brings back Starman's shirt for home and away games. GB2. Yeah. I don't think I'm ready for that. My emotions are already all over the place, to be fair. Luke says, 2 more embargoes for the dark side. When will points be taken? Same with Leicester. 2 more embargoes. Have they got 2 more? How long have I been at football training for? I've missed Dave the Nose's team in Platinum Chat. I've missed embargoes for Chef Wednesday. I don't know. I don't know when we'll get a points deduction, but Wilder were keen to mention it in his presser, weren't he? Which I thought were quite cute. Evening, Jim Bob. Up the Blades. Evening, pal. Hope you're good, Dempsey. Ray says, evening, Jimmy. Evening, all. Looking forward to the game on Saturday. Probably the first time this season with the king back. Oh, yes. Up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Up the Blades. Absolutely right. You look all right, Miss Jimmy. Yeah, I know, Pete. Sorry, pal. Gabe says, I'm back up and ready for this. The season starts now. Up the striker, Jim Bob. Up the striker. I know, yeah. Little brace for Jimmy Ramble against them 9-year-old girls. I didn't celebrate too much. Chris the Blade says 2-0 Blades, Hamer free kick and Campbell up the Blades. Think last. Campbell score last, okay. Marcus says if Wilder can start from -2, we can start from -15 up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man, love that. David says evening Jimmy, for the first time in a while, looking forward to Saturday. Like and subscribe please. Up all the Rambles and up the Blades. Thank you, matey. Very much appreciated. Hamer finally starts, says Louis. It just looks more and more daft on it the more you think about dropping him. Season starts Saturday, says Alessandro. The right man is back in the dugout. CW to reinvigorate the team and repair the confidence. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Cooper, Godfrey, Tanganga, me, Burrows. So that's the same as me, Scott. Peck and Samari, Ogbeni, Chong and Hamer, Campbell, and as O'Hare comes on as a finisher. Right, so differences to my team is you've got Chong in for O'Hare and you've got Samari in for Matos. Fair dues, mate. Fair dues. Do you know what the beauty of this is now? I think the team almost picks itself, but there's been 3 different teams, I think, pop up already, and I can see the argument for them. And that lends itself to the strength of the squad, doesn't it? So if Chong comes in, I'm not too fussed. If Samari comes in for Matos, not that fussed. If it's McGuinness for me, I understand it too. Jay Clear says, from what he said in the presser yesterday, it sounds like he'll go 4-2-3-1. I'd say Cooper, Sariki, Tanganga, me and Burrows, Matos and Peck, Ogbeni, O'Hare, Hamer and Campbell. So very similar to mine again, but you're going Sariki instead of Godfrey. Cyrus says, I'm taking a client to his second ever game. He got to experience the doom and gloom of attending the first game of the season, and now he's going to see the lane when it's bouncing, unbeaten the rest of the season. Oh, I hope you're right, pal. I hope you're right, Cyrus, and yeah, I hope you're right that it's bouncing as well. Phil Oakley with a £10 super chat. Thank you, pal. I hope Wilder does well, but he needs time and patience from the fans. Would like to see him play 2 up front up the Ramble. Well, thank you so much for your generous super chat, Phil. I would like to see 2 up front. I doubt we'll play 2 up front. It may surprise us. It may be 4-4-2. It may be 4-4-2. As crazy as that sounds, it could be 4-4-2, which isn't too dissimilar from the 4-2-3-1. It's just the 10 pushing further forward when you think about it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Danny says, we're at a minus 13 points. We're minus 13 from Borough. We can easily catch him now. Don't forget to hit the like button and hype. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that, mate. There's a big hole in midfield, says Alan. Where's that hole then, Al? I think we're okay. I don't think we're as strong as... Obviously, Vinny Sousa's left a huge gap, and I understand that. But I don't think you can replace him like for like. So we're always going to be slightly weaker after losing a player of that calibre, because we signed him in the Premier League. So it's a difficult one to address. But I think we've done as well as we could expect to have done, to be honest. I think Matos showed some real promise. I think Samari's shown promise as well. I do worry about the physicality in the middle, but I don't think we could have done much else other than what we've done. Sidney Peck will keep his place under Chris Wilder. I'm pretty sure of that. Ollie Arblaster can't come back soon enough. Ollie Arblaster's one of the best midfielders in the division, undoubtedly. And if he can get back to anywhere near his levels, then we'll do well to hold on to him. So I don't worry long term about that. But yes, we are slightly weaker in midfield than we were with Vinny Sousa here. Nige says, good evening, Jimmy. A huge weekend, not only for the club, but for our family. Partner's C-section brought forward for tomorrow, so another blade is on the way. A must win this weekend. Up the blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Nige, all the very best to you and your family. Here's hoping for a nice, quick, healthy, safe delivery. And yeah, for the newest blade to join us. That's brilliant. Fantastic. Congratulations to you and your family, and all the best, mate. Sheila says, evening, Jimmy. Would still like to know who advised the board to appoint Ruben up the blades, up the blades Ramble. Like and subscribe. I think it's whoever it was. Surely now believes they got it wrong, and it doesn't. Does it matter to a degree in terms? As long as they acknowledge it was now a mistake, which they have collectively. I don't think we'll ever know which individual pushed for it hardest. But yeah, it's removing Wilder that were the. It wasn't necessarily appointing Ruben, which was obviously a perplexing one in itself. It were removing Wilder as well that were a mind-boggler. Danny says 4-2-3-1. Cooper, Sariki, Tanganga, McGuinness and Burrows, Matos and Peck, Hamer, O'Hare, Ogbeni and Campbell. Yeah, so we're not too far away, are we? Sariki and McGuinness are coming into some teams. Samari's coming into some teams. I understand those. Walton says, I hope he plays 3-4-1-2. Cooper, me, Tanganga and Godfrey. Burrows and Ogbeni as the wing-backs. Peck, Matos and with Hamer at centre midfield. Campbell and Ings at strike. Yeah, good team. Good team. Alessandro says he's probably got 2 or 3 plans and lineups in his mind. Given what he said in the press conference the other day, hopefully we see a 3-4-2-1. He identified the big Sousa gap though still. Yeah, it's the case, isn't it? We have to be fair. Who's the next Messiah if Wilder fails to get results, says Jimmy Paddy. There ain't one, is there? There ain't, and there shouldn't be. You know, he's a special manager. He's a special. There's a special connection between him and our club, and we have to enjoy that. We have to acknowledge it and enjoy it. And when things go wrong, we need to stick together. And I think he's the best man to keep us all together. So I don't know if that was said with some slight jest there, Jimmy boy, but there's only one Chrissy Wilder. I'll say 4-3-2, says Romeo. Romeo done. 4-3-2. 2-0 Blade, says Danny. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Beautiful downtown Bramall Lane will be shaking. I cannot wait for the atmosphere. I cannot wait. It's going to be brilliant. I'm expecting us to run up at top of them, in all honesty. First 10 minutes, I think, will be electric, and we've got to make that early start count. Charlton will come and try and frustrate us. It'll be their game plan to shut us up as a crowd and kill the momentum of the game. That's the only way they're going to get something. Don't be surprised to see a couple of fouls going in early doors. Don't be surprised to see them rolling around on floor a little bit early doors, wasting a bit of time. I can see it happening. They'll try and frustrate us. We need to convert early, and then it could go from 1 to 2, maybe even to 3, and we'll see where we go from there. But brilliant. Lewis with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, pal. One of our Platinum Ramblers. Very, very generous of you, mate, for being a good dad and also for winning. Thank you, mate. They have to learn, mate. Defeat is what forges you up the Ramble. Do you know what? I'm having for those that aren't aware, and it's sponsored actually by Wellstone Landscapes, is Countdown to Kickoff. So Paul from Wellstone Landscapes has agreed to be our sponsor for this show, and I'm very appreciative of it. But he's actually doing my garden now, my back garden, and I'll be showing you it as a project, probably on Behind the Ramble or something like that. But the reason I mention it is because while in the summer holidays, when the girls were still off school, I was playing Monopoly with them both. Because Emily loves playing Monopoly, and Sophie's not that bothered. But Emily just enjoys playing. And the 9, I've got twin girls, they're both 9. Emily enjoys playing the game, and Sophie is like me and my dad. It's my dad's side. It's all my dad's side. This Eki Outsal's exactly the same. We are so competitive. We have to win at everything. So, Sophie, I landed on Mayfair. She always wants to buy Mayfair. I bought Mayfair. Anyways, game's going on. I put a hotel on Mayfair, and she landed on it. She landed on Mayfair, and it wiped her out for game, and that were it. She cried. Board nearly went up, and she was screaming. And Paul's out doing gardening. He's looking as she's screaming. I'm going, so. So I had to go out and tell him later. You know, I didn't embarrass her in front of him, but I was like, oh, mate, she's a nightmare with some games. And she gets it from me. It's my fault. She landed on Mayfair, and that were her game done. He was saying he's had exactly the same experience with his daughters. Not Monopoly, it was something else. But, yeah, you've got to teach them, haven't you? I've joked before on the show that my dad there were a skit on Fast Show called Competitive Dad, where Charlie, no, I don't know his name. I can't remember the name of the actor. But it's basically a scene about a dad being ultra competitive with his kids, and he has to win at everything. And there's one of him playing squash with his kids, and he's smacking it against the wall, and it's kids crying. He beats them all at Monopoly another time, and it's so good, and it's so true to life. Me and my brother used to laugh at it all the time, because that was my dad. My dad used to smash us at Subutio and everything. We could never win. It was one of them. So shout out Andy the Blade, hope you well. I'll see you Saturday. Pete says, I'm up for a watch along with Paul. Be great if you can do it, please. Nearly 10,000 subscribers. We all need to tell just one person who's not already a member, and we can make it 10k for Saturday. It'll never be 10k. 300 subs in 2 days. That's too much to ask, I think, Pete. But look, I will be super grateful to. Well, I already am anyway. But to get to 10k is just. It's been the figure. It's been the figure that we've aimed for such a long time. 10,000 people subscribing and wanting to know what we're doing and having an interest in what us talking about Sheffield United. Yeah. Anyway, back to the game. Thank you, Peak. I appreciate that, mate. John says, enjoyed the hour-long presser yesterday. Chris seems happy with the new signings. Well, we all said that, didn't we? That we thought they were quite Wilder-type signings towards the back end. He might mention it on View from the Mountain tomorrow. But Paul's got an inkling that he had something to do with some of these signings. I don't know if I'd take it that far, but can't wait for Saturday now. Was dreading it pre-Chris. My team is the same as you, apart from Sariki and Ings. So he brings Sariki in at right back and Ings in for Campbell. Okay. Fair dues, John. Josh says, my team's Cooper, Godfrey Tanganga, McGuinness and Burrows, Peckham Matos, Barry, Hamer, Ogbeni and Campbell. All right, so you're dropping O'Hare and keeping Barry in. Hamer's in the 10. Right, okay, I got you. Think Bindon goes back in January. I agree. And interested to see what CW can get out of Barry and Samari. Yeah, me too. Me too. I think Barry sits out for him. You know, that's just me gut instinct. An L against Borough was the last headed goal. I remember it. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, I thought it were an L. I thought it were an L. Richard says, O'Hare really needs to pull his finger out. He's not the only one, but his contributions since joining have been underwhelming in my opinion. He's in the team to create, and he's not doing enough. Do you know, Richard, you're not the only one who feels that way. I think I like to give him benefit of doubt. I think he always looks busy, but that can be a little bit deceptive on the naked eye. So I don't completely disagree with you. I think he works hard, so he gets away with more. So because he's a hard worker, we cut him a little bit more slack. But I would like to see more end product from him and more goals and more assists. The one thing I think he struggles to do is shoot with any sort of power at all. So there were a chance. It may have been against Ipswich, but whatever game it was, he had the ball on the edge of the box and he had the chance to shoot. And after loads of catcalls from crowd, he shot, and it were a trickler. I've never seen him hit a shot with real venom. I'm not sure he's got the power in his legs. I might be wrong, and it might just be an assumption, a wild assumption, but I don't know if he's got the power to generate a really powerful strike. I think he's more a side footer that will place it rather than, or tap it in rather than hit it from outside the box. I'd be really interested to know how many goals he's got outside the box in his career, because I don't think he's got enough power on his shot. Lee says, seems the same as yours apart from McGuinness. For me, purely down to fitness issues, says Lee. Captain for the season, Tanganga, and a 3-0 to 3-1 win on Saturday. Nice one, mate. I'll take that all day long. Tanganga's an interesting shout. Why do people think Tanganga should be captain? Is it because he leads by example in the way that he plays? He certainly did that against Middlesbrough. He's the best defender that we've got. I think that's probably... I don't think there's much of an argument about that. Obviously, everything's subjective. And obviously, it sits better, I think, does the captain's armband on a defender or a centre midfielder, really. So, is that the reason? Because he's the best defender? I don't see many leadership qualities in him in terms of vocally or the way he carries himself. But that don't mean it can't come. That don't mean I just haven't had a chance to see those. I'm just interested to see what qualities people see in Tanganga other than him being one of our better players. So I'm all ears, and I'm interested to have that conversation. Luke says, Cooper, Sariki, Tanganga as captain again. McGuinness. Hang on. Cooper, Sariki, Tanganga, McGuinness. I'm assuming Burrows is in there as well. But Peck, Matos, Gus, O'Hare, Ogbeni, and Campbell. Yeah, you must have Burrows in there as well. Okay, mate. No worries. So that's a 4, 2, 3, 1. In fact, that's same as me, apart from Sariki and McGuinness are different to me. Nige says Cooper, Godfrey, Tanganga, McGuinness, Burrows, Matos and Peck, Ogbeni, O'Hare, and Hamer and Campbell, and plenty of subs. Samari, Ings, Chong, Cannon, and me all to come on to see the game out. Pete says, hi Jimmy, like your team, like it, rocking all over the lane, up the blades. Chrissy Wilder's Red and White Army up the Ramble. Nice one, pal. Nige says it's a 2-1 win. Brett, thank you for the £5 super chat. He says, treat yourself to a Balti pie at half time. Now the Messiah is back, I won't be wasting another. Come on, join the Plats people. Thank you, mate, from Brett, one of our Platinum Ramblers. Brett, who did you launch the Balti pie, or did you just chuck the Balti pie? I can't remember what the tale was now, but in frustration at the Blades' performances, he certainly didn't see off an expensive Balti pie at the Lane. 1-0 Blade, says Luke. Personally, I think he'll keep Peck as captain. Also think we'll win by 2 or 3 on Saturday. It was Peck as captain because Gus was benched. I know Danny Hall asked him if Gus would keep the armband. And he said, well, I may choose to do that, or I may take it off him and allow him to concentrate on his own game, which leads me to think he'll take it off Gus. But it's a decision to be made, isn't it? So we'll have to wait and see. But Peck wore it in Gus's absence, didn't he? Chris says, Cooper, Burrows, me, Tanganga and Godfrey. Yeah, Matos and Peck. Hamer in the tent. Chong on the left. Ogbeni on the right. Campbell up the middle. So just instead of mine, you've got O'Hare out and Chong in, but you've got Hamer in the 10 instead. Addison says, I can't see why people thought Hamer's best position was midfield. In the attacking area, he's able to take risks, which half the time he will lose the ball. half the time will cause problems in their third. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, and that's been proven, hasn't it? I was one of them that wanted to see him in an 8. I don't think he's positionally disciplined enough to do that. Nor should we really restrict one of our better players to do that in hindsight. Alessandro says 3-4-1-2. Cooper, Godfrey, me, Tanganga, Ogbeni, Matos, Peck and Burrows. Yeah, Hamer behind Ings and Campbell. Really like that. O'Hare, Chong and Cannon from the bench. I agree with Lee. Same team as you, Jimmy. Just McGuinness in for me, as not sure how fit me is. Yeah, to be fair, I'll take that on chin. He played for reserves in the week, I think. Yes, he did. J619 says Charlton right back was sent off last game, so got a feeling Hamer on the left will have a second choice Charlton right back in Hamer's pocket on Saturday. Like and subscribe, guys. We need the Kitchen OG 10k show. Yeah, that's a Lee Edridge request, which I've agreed to when we do hit 10k, because it will happen. We're confident it will happen, but we'll do a one-off Kitchen Ramble, just like the old days for those that remember those that were here for the very beginning. Mr. Vancouver, Worldsy Lad, Lee Edridge himself. There were loads that were here in the very, very early days. I see you people. Daz says, it'll be a tough game. I don't expect Rob Kerr, obviously. But don't forget Rob Kerr, the first ever Rambler. It'll be a tough game, says Daz. I don't expect miracles immediately, and we cannot underestimate Charlton. I would take a scrappy 1-0, in all honesty. Yes, me too. Me too. Ben says, good evening, Jimmy. So my team would be Ings up front with Hamer, O'Hare and Ogbeni, Samari, Matos, Sariki, Tanganga, Meat, Burrows and Cooper in goal. My prediction is against Charlton is 2-1. Up the Blades. I'll take it. Bean says, first goal will be massive. We've not been ahead in a game all season. We've got a kind of running game. We've got a kind of run of games, so hopefully this is where our season starts. We'll snap your hand off for a scrappy 1-0. So after this, we go to Oxford, which again is another tricky game. Then we're at home again to Southampton. Tough game. And then we go to Hull, I think, before the international break. So there's 4 games there. 12 points. John says, Cooper, Jaffet, me and Godfrey. Sariki and Burrows as the wing-backs. Peck, Matos and Hamer. Ogbeni, Campbell, Ings, me captain. 2-0 win. How many players we're playing here? Like, Cool King says, evening, Jim. You're right about the squad depth. From your team, there's 2 or 3 players that could be replaced, and no one would say it weakens the team much. 2-0 Blades. Charlton haven't won away. 2-0 Blades. Cooler King, I like the way you think. Josh says, really hope we get a look at Samari and Sariki at right back. Captain is Blaster, but until then, probably Tanganga has looked most like a captain so far this season up the Blades. I think that's fair point on performances. Well, we've only seen him twice, haven't we? But Ian says, we can't go into this as fans expecting to just walk over Charlton. I'm hoping we do, but we'll need to stay calm and just back the lads. Yeah, if it's 0-0 at half-time, we can't be getting restless, can we? Or we can't go like super silent. We need to stay with them. I agree with that. Chris says, hi, Jimmy. First chance to see a live stream for a while. I'm over the moon with CW back at the lane, and I can't wait for Saturday. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the Chrissy Wilder. Yes, mate. Hope you're good. Chrissy Colchin, one of our Platinum Ramblers as well. John says, got to play Ings and Ty up top. Me, captain, and a 2-0 win. Dave Morwood says, doesn't Tyrese Campbell play for Charlton? So that'll be fun. Yeah, they've got a Tyrese Campbell of their own, haven't they? That's really strange. So, yeah, imagine if you go into a bookie and you say, I want some money on Tyrese Campbell to score, please. You can maybe go back in and argue later. Andrew says, I think it went under the radar, but during CW's presser, he name-checked Tom Davis having a pivotal role to play. He said it twice. He did say it twice. If fit, I like your team, but I'd drop Callum O'Hare, Matos in front of the back 4, Samari and Peck. Okay, you go with more of a flat 3. Clarkey says, evening, Jim. Who motivates the motivator? Mr. Motivator, maybe? The board does by sacking him. Ah, yes, nice. Genius. Buzzing for Saturday, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Come on, you red and white wizards. Clarkey, for those that don't know, because he doesn't often comment, but he's a long-time Platinum Rambler and one of the core Ramblers, if you like, that's been here a long, long time. He plays a pivotal role, Clarkey, predominantly on match days, because Clarkey is the first person in triple point. Not the first person out of the Ramblers. He's usually the first person in. So he gets the table that we all end up around. So shout out to Clarkey. Appreciate everything you do, pal. Ian says, going back to a manager for the 3rd time. Ouch. Hey, winning with your manager in his 3rd spell. Ouch. Love that. Love that. Helen says 11-0 to get the goal difference back to 0. In reality, I reckon it's 2-0. Ings and Campbell to score. Would love Danny Ings to get off the mark as well. That'd be great. Absolutely brilliant. Love that. Kyle says, how good is that video of Wilder greeting the players? Talk about chemistry. I love it. Oh, mate. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Danny says, imagine Wilder coming back for round 3 with unfinished business. Minus 15 points. Gets us to Wembley and ends all our fails. Come on the Blades. The man even makes you think positive. Up the Chrissy Wilder. Honestly, you can't say it out loud because it jinxes us. But I think we've all had that fleeting thought in our mind, don't we? But it just writes itself, surely. Jay Clay says, first time I've been buzzing since Wembley. Might make me feel like a Wilder superfan. But I didn't have the same buzz at the start without him at the helm. He'll bring so many back on Saturday. Almost a sellout from what we're hearing. Almost a sellout. Daz says, can I just pump the brakes about Saturday? Yes, we're all excited about the game, but let's just respect the opponent and not take him for granted. Otherwise, we could fall on our backsides. I'm going 4-0 Blades. Nice, Daz. Nice. Romeo Dunn says, I can't wait for Saturday. I can't wait to go to the Lane on Saturday. Nick says, I hope you're well, Jim. Buzzing to be back like the start of the season all over again. The super Chrissy Wilder effect, eh? We do have another Messiah post Wilder. It's Heckingbottom, isn't it? Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Something like that, pal. Super Furnace says 4-0. The championship's about to get a wake-up call. Did you? There was a retweet on X of the Chris Wilder video greeting the players. And it were a Charlton fan saying, yeah, we're not beating these, are we? On to Blackburn, lads. Or something like whoever they've got next. So they are like, already. Can you imagine if you're Charlton now and you're preparing for a game and you've seen us be so useless all season so far, and then Chrissy Wilder walks through the door and you visibly see the chests stick out and everybody raise the levels. It's just, they know what they're coming into, and it's a storm that they don't want anything to do with, do they? Godfrey has got to be on the bench this Charlton game after the Ipswich, surely, says Stephen. I'm not sure he will be. I think Ipswich, I'm not going to defend Godfrey's performance against Ipswich. I thought he was the poorest person on pitch, but we can't write him off after one game. Surely he's got to go again. Certainly under Chrissy Wilder, and see if we can get. He's not played at the level he has and become a poor player overnight. I will give Godfrey another go. I think he's a better natural defender than Sariki, although Ipswich definitely did not show that. We'll wait and see. Score prediction, I'm going 2-0, 3 mucky ears. Dad says, we'll be able to see your back garden when we hit 10k from your kitchen window with Mrs. Ramble giving you tea and biscuits like Connor's partner. You're joking, aren't you? I don't get pampered like that. You know what he's like, though, to be fair. Cool King says, competitive dad was Simon Day. Thank you. We also played Dave Angel, Eco Warrior. Like a moonlight shadow. Just in a minute. Yeah, I remember that. Thank you, Simon Day. Thank you, Cooler King. Always rely on you, pal. Hello, Jimmy. I think we win this one 2-0. Campbell and Ogbenny on the score sheet. That Fast Show competitive dad sketch, I think was Simon Day was his name, up the Ramble. Thank you, Phil. Liam says, evening, pal. My team is Cooper, Godfrey, Tanganga, McGuinness, Burrows, Peckham, Matos, Ogbenny, O'Hare, Hamer and Campbell. 2-0. Campbell and Hamer to score. Tanganga for captain, because Wilder will go with McGuinness. Yeah, I think he will. Mate. Peake says, Jimmy, can't you invite Wilder on with our Prince? King and Prince together. Surely Prince could convince him it's the right thing to do. If you think I haven't tried that already, you don't know me very well. Wilder said he'll come on. I'm not going to keep bugging him about it, but he has said he'll come on. I don't think he'll come on while he's manager. I'd be very surprised. Or if he does, it might be in closed season or something like that. So I'll keep doing it, but not incessantly. But good evening, Prince Abdullah. And yes, I'm happy for you to come on whenever you want. Paul says, evening, Jimmy. Rams fan here, just came off our live stream as it ended. Thought I'd pop in to say hi. Well, hi, mate. Thank you for joining us. What do we all think to Cannon, says John? I think people are running out of patience with him, to be honest. I'd like to see him get another chance under Wilder, but he'll be third choice now, won't he? So I think it might be tough for him. I hope I'm wrong, though. I reckon a good 3-1 win, says 3 Mucky Ears, with Barry, Hamer and Tanganga with the goals. Bryce says, can anyone tell me where the footage of CW meeting the boys is, please? It's on X, and I think it's on Facebook as well that some people posted. You didn't put Burrows in, I know, Luke. Andrew says, Cooper, Tanganga, me, McGuinness, Ogbenny, Burrows, Samari, Matos, Gus in the 10, Campbell and Ings. 3-4-1-2 and a 2-1 win. Nice. Cannon looks a shadow of himself at Stoke and Leicester. Maybe confidence, of course, says J619. Hope he can get it back, as a lot of Leicester fans were sad when he was sold that I have spoken to. Yeah, I agree. Would it surprise you to see him go out on loan in January? Because it wouldn't surprise me. Up the Blade says, my 11 is Cooper, Burrows, McGuinness, Tanganga, Godfrey, Siddy and Matos in the middle. Gus in the 8. Gus on the left, I assume. Yeah, O'Hare, Ogbenny, and Campbell. So same team as mine, other than McGuinness in for me. My heart's saying 3-0 win, head saying 1-0 win, and fate is saying 1-0 loss. Oh, don't say that. What about Tom Davis? Tom Davis is injured, pal. Luke says, I just don't think Me'll be fit, but if he was, I'd be going 3 or 5 at the back. We've got Preston this weekend, says Paul, and 3-0 Derby. And your team will win 2-0 up the Rams, up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. Preston, don't write Preston off. They've started so well under Eki. Chrissy Ancelotti says, evening, Jimmy. Jay Clear says, I think we've got better quality and depth this year. Feel more confident against teams at the top end of the division. There's no standout teams this year, is there? So we can go into every game now believing we can get something. I'm really excited for the rest of the season. Danny says, thoughts on rumours of David Weir to come back as football director. Didn't realise he'd been at Brighton for years with their recruitment history. We remember David Weir, those of us that were unfortunate enough to remember David Weir at Sheffield United, as a really poor manager for us. We were his first managerial gig. I think we were his only managerial gig. Might be wrong. I think he then did some scouting. Might have been a scout at Brighton, but he did a bit of scouting. I remember hearing on the circuit, if you like. And has been at Brighton as technical director for a long time, only just left. I would not be clouded by his previous stint as manager to think he could potentially do a really good job as a technical director for Sheffield United. I certainly wouldn't be writing it off. If we'd have heard anybody else, any other name, say it were a name nobody had heard of, Fred, I don't know, Fred Mountain, no relation. And we'd heard that he's been at Brighton as technical director for 6-7 years, and now Sheffield United are going to get him. Now he's been released. We'd all be really excited, and we'd never heard of him. The only reason some people have some reservation is because it's David Weir, and we've had a poor experience with him as manager 10 years ago. So longer than 10 years ago, I would be excited potentially to see what could happen with a technical director coming in, and I think he's clearly now forged himself a decent reputation in the game. I'd go Cooper, Sariki, Godfrey, Tanganga, me, McGuinness, so 5. Hang on, Burrows. Hang on, Cooper, Sariki, Godfrey, Tanganga, me, McGuinness, and Burrows. So 6 defenders. Peck, Gus, Campbell, and Ings. 6. I couldn't get it, Danny, because you were messing about with you. Brian, they're all on United socials. It was put out yesterday morning. Thank you, Footy Fanatic. Brand says, evening, Jim. I personally think Blaster will have the armband full time when he's back, and so he should, in my opinion. Until then, it should be me or Tanganga, both vocal leaders. Me knows how to communicate with officials too. Yeah, I agree with that. If the Prince does come in as a minor investor, will you ask him to come back on the channel? Yeah, don't be surprised to see Prince Abdullah back on the channel sooner rather than later. Bryce says, I've looked on SUFC site and can't find. I think it may be on YouTube, but if not, it'll be on X or Facebook, Bry. Lee says, Tanganga as captain is our best defender, and I prefer a defender as captain. They get to see the game and can organise easier. Lead by example and not always being loud and demonstrative. Actions matter. I think that's fair. That's fair. Like, share, and subscribe to the Ramble, folks. Let's hit that 10k, says Bry. Thank you, mate. Deborah Webster with a £20 super chat. Thank you so much. That's really generous of you. Hi, Jimmy. My score for Saturday is 3-1 to United. Thank you, Debs. That's unbelievable support. Really appreciate it. Bryce says, wow, awesome support, Deborah. Thank you. A fit Davis is the best midfielder we have. He's class. He's not the best midfielder we have, but I don't mean to dumb him down, but I'd rather have Ollie Arblaster. And Gus Amer is technically a midfielder, but I understand what you mean. In terms of an out-and-out central midfielder, I think he's a very good player. But a fit Tom Davis, does it exist? That's the other question, isn't it? Chirek says, what's the problem with Tanganga being captain, Jimmy lad? No problem. No problem. I just want to know people's thought process as to why. What says Tanganga over anybody else other than he's one of the better players? I don't think he's particularly vocal. I don't think he carries himself, and this is just an observation and maybe completely way off. I don't think he necessarily carries himself that way. Some people have got a bit more of an aura about him, aren't they? Like, hold themselves as captains, like Billy Sharp, Ben Mee, Chris Morgan obviously had it as well. It's quite rare to have. So no problem with him being captain. I just wondered what people's justification was. The Blade says, we shouldn't underestimate Charlton, though. Their defensive structure is brilliant, but their right back, Kane Ramsey, is suspended. Luke says, I saw the video with a Charlton fan. Most of the replies were the same. Yeah, I know. James says, 2-0 Saturday. Wonder if Wilder will walk it to the ground on Saturday like he has many times before. Could do. The Blade says, this is a fresh start for all players. If we give City, Gus, etc. another chance, then we should give Godfrey another chance. Response to people in general. Wouldn't it be brilliant to see a City goal, especially after Wilder coming in? It'd be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Heard that Brewster's injured again, says James. That's unfortunate if true. Not surprising, but unfortunate. Bryce says, give Cannon the chances he needs, and I think he'll come good. Had no service under our former waiter. Nor did Ty Campbell, to be fair. I think most players have been feeding off scraps. That I think we're at 3 chances in 4 games or something we've created. Just seen on X that tickets for Hull are now sold out. Love that. Thank you, Helen. Cannon, I feel for, whenever he has a chance, it seems like we never create anything. He's shown a bit like glimpses, though, like Brewster. He needs confidence to kickstart this season. And yes, we are David Weir's only managerial gig. Thank you, mate. Hope Cooper gets back to his best. Been poor, especially against Ipswich. Agree, Chris. And you know I love Cooper, but I think he was poor against Ipswich, and he's not been great this season. I think the players wanted Sayers out with that performance. I'd like to think that wasn't the case. Where do you think we'll finish this season now that Wilder is back? I'm looking at top 6. I firmly believe top 6 can happen. I'm not writing anything else off yet either, but let's get the first win under the belt first. On the board, under the belt. Ian says, hopefully Ings can help Cannon's confidence. I think Ings could be a major asset this season. Yeah, me too. Hope we're in the Premier League next season, says Romeo Dunn. Yeah, I think we all do, pal. I think we all do. It's a huge ask, though, at the minute, isn't it? Dad says, before we chuck Cannon overboard, let's ask ourselves what the last striker most, not me, slated on, and how he's getting on at Wrexham. I think Ogbenny could be our wild card. At least he does cross the ball. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Kiefer Moore doing really well at Wrexham. I like Kiefer Moore, and I was one of those that supported him. But I also think it's still a really good deal for Sheffield United. Getting your 3rd choice striker off the books, you made a profit on him. He's 33 years old. You're on 30 to 35 grand a week. Wasn't really getting a kick. Certainly weren't starting for us. I still think it's a really good deal for Sheffield United. When fully fit, Tom Davies and Blaster together would be class, but it's about keeping them fit, really. Yes, it is. After United, David Weir became assistant manager at Brentford under Mark Warburton. Then he went to Brighton. Thank you, mate. We'll be able to keep everyone fit when this new training ground starts to get built, says Danny. Chirek says he's the best defender. Moved away from London to come here when others wanted out. Always vocal. Not scared to rollick anyone who needs one. Is very vocal, pal, when he needs to be. Okay, thank you, Chirek. Kyle says, don't think Blaster should be captain, to be honest, because he's disappeared in games, especially the Leeds game. I think we should allow the youngsters to get inconsistencies out of their system. A captain needs to be present always. Interesting. I like our Blaster as captain, and I thought he, certainly in the majority of games, he were really strong. But yeah, it's a fair point, Kyle, and it's all about opinions, isn't it? I'm pleased you feel like you can come on and go against the grain and not be shot down for it, because you shouldn't be shot down. That's a genuine opinion, and you give genuine reasons for it. Love it. Cautious 1-1 is my prediction, says Ian. Oh, that's disappointing. Fair enough. Up the Blade says, I don't know if you've seen my post on X, but I reckon we could genuinely get automatics. I think January will be a huge part of it. I think it'll go in stages. I think it will be a case of let's get to this stage, then let's get to this stage, and then let's see where we are in January, and then I think that's how it's going to go. So I think we have to eat the elephant in chunks, if you like. I love the 90s, me too, says Ings will make an impact in the last 20-25 minutes when the opponents have tired legs. Love it. Do you know what's happening with the new training ground, Jim? No, everything's paused, I think, at the minute, and I'm pretty sure all the money went into transfer budget, so I wouldn't expect any news imminently. Agree with your top 6. We need to start winning ways starting on Saturday. Bryce says, like, share and subscribe to the Ramble, folks. Let's hit that 10k. Thank you, mate. Danny says, is pride and ego taking over our heads for the playoffs? I believe in Wilder and how much of a man manager he really is and the perfect fit, but what a job he has on his hands, Jimmy. He does, but you would expect a bounce on Saturday. I think most of us expect a bounce on Saturday. And then you look at the table, and in terms of the playoffs, I bet there's only 6 points in it. 6, 7, maybe 8 points away. There won't be a lot, particularly if we get 3 on Saturday. So, because we've gone so early with the sacking, there's plenty of time left. If we'd have left it 10, 15 games, then yeah, you can be looking at, it's too much to ask for the playoffs. And even then, it's mathematically possible. But I think playoffs is a really realistic aim for us this season, Danny. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's egotistical to think that this squad's good enough. Very nice to see a positive Chirac on the channel. Yes, it is, mate, says Lee. Romeo says, if we don't go up, we can hopefully next season, but we'll have to sell the good players as we won't have the Premier League money anymore. That's true. Chirac with some nice emojis for Lee. George says, wonder why, if Ryan Oney is gutted, his game time at right back is going to be limited now. Obviously, that's in jest, but I think Ryan Oney's game time in general will be limited now. He will surely be one of the players going out in January. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. Suter in January, says John. Imagine Suter and Jaffet at the back. Surely we don't sign any more centre-halves. Surely we don't. But having said that, Wilder's back now. We're certainly flirting with the idea of bringing Harry Suter in. We paraded him around the pitch after he got injured, so I think there's more chance of Harry Suter coming back now that Wilder's here. I just think while we're rivals with Leicester, why would they do business with us? And what kind of Harry Suter are we getting as well? Because he's come back from a big injury, hasn't he, or he would be doing. The Old 4th Division side are back at the Lane on Saturday for a reunion. Very good team, 90 plus points when we were 2 points. It were 2 points for a win. That's good to know, James. That's interesting. Let's get to 50 points, says Steve. Then 75, then 88. As a United fan, every year I want 50 points first to stay up. No one this season are pulling up any trees. Completely agree, Steve. And this is the mentality. This is what we'll be doing. We'll be aiming for 50 points. Get yourselves saved from relegation and then look at where we are and how many games are left. Very smart. I read we've been hit with a 7-figure sum for PSR with getting CW back. I won't worry about PSR for us, pal. Forest were in a similar spot to us the other year when Cooper came in and they were like, no, one game off the autos and eventually won the playoffs. Never say never. I'm not saying never, pal. I'm not saying, not with Chrissy Wilder here. We're still in mates who support Prem teams. The Championship is strange and competitive league, says Alessandro. Reckon we'll be in the top 6 or near it come Steel City Derby. The CW effect. Absolutely the CW effect. Paul says, question to all Ramblers. What do we think of 6 teams in the playoffs? If something the EFL are moving to like an 8 or 9. Something the EFL are looking into. I'm all for it. Don't change it if it ain't broke is my general opinion. I could do a whole show on it though, to be honest, Paul. Dad says, most of our close season sales have been good business. Just getting players in was our weakness to start with. Top 10 by Christmas, then push on for top 6 and could do with finally ending our playoff jinx. Yeah, agreed. Bindon go back and get Suter, says Walton. Yeah, but then we've got McGuinness that we've paid money for that you'll be knocking out of the team. Me's there. Is that a wasted wage if you're getting Harry Suter in? Where does Zatterstrom fit in? We've plenty of centre-backs now, haven't we? Just the name Chris Wilder strikes fear into the opposition team, says Hyder up the Ramble. Ash from Trusty Rufus says, I think it's well achievable. The top 4, maybe bar Leicester, depending on the points deduction they are due. I don't think any of them at the minute finish up there. We never win the playoffs, says Romeo. Listen, we haven't yet won the playoffs. Even when my dad was a kid, we never won the playoffs. Listen, there's always a chance, Romeo. Don't you worry about that. Sheffield United can rewrite history here. Sayers signings Ukaki, Bindon and Barry on a fair hand. On a fair hand, being poor like all, but I mean, as in maybe not Sheffield United players, but at the end of the window looks like Wilder, Chong, McGuinness, Ogbeni, Ings, etc. When do you think they're realistically called and thought of bringing Wilder in back or Millwall? We'll never know. We'll never know. I think the decision was made over the international break, and then Ipswich result just completely sealed it. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll never know, as I say. We won't see. We'll never know. So I'm at the end of the comments, so we're going to call it there. I want to say thank you to everybody for joining me tonight. I am ridiculously excited for Saturday. I think the next time you'll see me unless there's a hot off the presser, unless there's a press conference pre-Charlton, which I'm not sure yet whether there will be or not, then the next time you see me will be 90 after 90. But there'll be plenty to come on the channel because, as I say, there could be a hot off presser either tomorrow or Friday. There will be a view from the mountain tomorrow night. And the Man Mountain's also on about doing a watch-along for the game. So the next time you'll see me, it'll be 90 after 90. But Man Mountain may be doing a watch-along for the game as well as a view from the mountain tomorrow night. So if you're not already and you like what we do, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's completely free. If you press your notification bell, it'll flash up on your phone whenever we come up. We're Ramble, so you'll never miss it. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards! Up the blades.